Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Nature's Aura. In today's episode, we're going to be covering how you can go from basic to advanced on your aura generation methods. But before we jump in, I feel I should thank one of our patrons, and that is Cameraman Steve. Thank you very much for your patronage. It is greatly appreciated. Alright, let's go over to this aura generation area that I kind of have set up. There are several options, and in fact I've already covered a little bit of them in the past, namely the ancient trees, the canopy diminisher, and the, Herbivorous Absorber, kind of. I covered this one in the first look video, which actually isn't too bad. Let's see if I can find that one. I think I've got it over here. Yeah, Herbivorous Absorber. That one there, if you look here, is made with just some infused iron, a peony, and a bottle of sunlight with some wood. Now what this does is it absorbs flowers that are placed near it. Now if I right click on it with this magnifying lens that I have, the mystical magnifier, it shows you the area that it affects so you can see, but it more or less will eat flowers. And I have this hooked up with, of course, an imperceptible builder, so it'll automatically place things. Now, if you remember, the imperceptible builder will start placing things in order of their placement. So it'll place 2 white tulips first, then 2 pink tulips, 2 oxeyes, 2 dandelions, and so on. Now, with this in mind, the Herbivorous Absorber will get you a decent amount of aura. Now, I currently have a tremendous amount of aura in this area as it is. If you look in the bottom right corner there, I currently have maxed out more or less the aura. It can still go higher off the charts right now, and you can see I'm getting a tremendous amount of power from this energetic aura forge that is working quite well, getting me nearly 500 energy per tick. But that being said, we can still pump more into the aura, and you can hook this thing up and others to like redstone signals using the aura detector as it is, so that you know that sends off a redstone signal depending upon how high the aura is. So if you want to automatically keep it topped off instead of constantly going, you can do that. But the idea with this, the Herbivorous Absorber, as I was saying, is if you constantly keep putting down one item, let's say I'm constantly putting down white tulips, you'll get diminishing returns. It demands variety. And in this case, it's best if you have at least 6 different types. You can add more, but at least 6 different types for it to continue keeping at maximum efficiency. Now in this case, as you can see, it's going to just keep placing these as it would. You can see, looking up here, it is currently taking from the top, and it is eating these up and feeding more and more aura around us. Now the volume is down a bit. I have some sound mufflers over there, but this is the basic idea here. You get it. It's just placing these one at a time, all the different types, getting maximum efficiency for the flowers that we have. So this next one is a bit morbid. The disentangler of mortals. This one here, in fact, I think I've got it sitting nearby over here. Yes, I have it right here. It looks like there's a little dude kind of halfway in a jail cell. It's pretty cool. I actually really like the little artwork on there. But you place this down, which actually I should mention that the recipe demands you to have gone into the nether. This is why it's a bit more morbid as it is. But you place it down and you kill things. Specifically kind of passive mobs. If you look, it does talk about the information here. It says that you have to wait about 1.5 hours to get maximum benefits on this, and it is very, very important, and that's like real life time. That doesn't mean you have to sit here for 1.5 hours stuff. You can do other things. This is just another way of doing it. If you have automatic creature creation methods, and you can have them like pushed over into areas that will be therefore killed, you can then get a bunch of aura. So this cow has been here for some time, and it's very close to the disentangler of mortals. If you want to know how far it goes, you can always right click, and you can see those that would fall into its range of effect. Of course, just click again with that magnifier, and so on. So let's use my hand axe just to make sure that I get this in one fell swoop if possible. I don't think that I can. No, 9.25. I don't know. Maybe we can crit and take it out. No, I did not crit. There we go. But you can see it did give a very good effect, and therefore this is constantly putting a very strong amount of aura up into the atmosphere there, which it's actually really, really good. If you just have like a animal has recently been bred or something like that, you're not going to get barely anything out of this. But if you've got a bunch of excess animals and you need to spike your aura really quick, this is a very effective method of doing so. Therefore, you can just, constantly take out a bunch of animals and get a bunch of aura, assuming that they're close enough to actually benefit it. There we go. That one was just outside of the range, I think. Yeah, I think it was. And most of these are not that old either. There we go. And if you kill a whole bunch of them at once, you're not going to get the benefit from it. You have to do so one at a time. Otherwise, it just kind of finishes the first one and then goes to whatever is next after it's done. So you're not going to want to slaughter a whole yard of these all at the same time. Now, if you have multiple disentanglers of mortals, then that's another story. Now, I feel I should do a quick mention of the canopy diminisher. Again, in this case, I have the imperceptible builder set up to just plant a bunch of trees around at random. But basically, any of these that grow really tall, instead of growing really tall, they would grow small. Like these, like those ones out there. I wasn't expecting that to pop right then. And if it were to have grown tall instead, it would then release a bunch of aura into the atmosphere. So once again, if you have some kind of tree farm going on, then that would be really beneficial for a lot of people to take advantage of that, since they will therefore be generating aura at the same time, having that nearby. Now let's go into something a little bit more green. And in this case, it is called a swamp Homi? I couldn't really tell you how it's pronounced, but it's just some moss stone, infused iron, and bottled sunlight. It's really cheap, very effective. If you have access to a botanist pickaxe, you can demonstrate this very simply. Though the rates at which the botanist pickaxe are healed using your aura cache have been changed slightly, so therefore it may not yield as effective as you might hope. But therefore, just by right-clicking with your axe or placing down some sort of mossy variant item near a swamp Homi is what I'm going to call it. Homie. Hey, homie. You will eat that moss off of it, turn it into a regular type of stone, or its regular variant, and therefore it's a good thing that I'm in creative right now, or else I would have potentially broken my pick. Here, I'll go into normal mode, and I will show you now that just by doing a bunch of these, I can almost break my pick just by going around this, and now I have to sneak and repair my pick very gently, and then slowly try and release some into the atmosphere. Now, you might get a little bit of a bonus off of this. It's a little bit manual, but it is a way of getting the aura up there if you so need it. Like really badly, that's one way of doing it. But you're better off just placing the items or growing them generally. Like if you have a vanilla mob spawner nearby, some kind of cobblestone or something, it could passively start like generating aura near that, because that will automatically start trying to spread. Or if you have other effects, depending upon the mod pack that you have going on. So that is one way of doing it, using mossy variants near a swamp homie, and then you can take advantage of that. And now we get into the ritual of the brewer. Now, this one here is a little bit more interesting in my mind. Let's get rid of this egg. This one requires an altar setup. Now, I currently have underneath just a bunch of redstone going to a dispenser, aiming up at this lingering absorber with a bunch of lingering potions in it. Specifically, lingering speed potions. Doesn't really matter what they are, but they do have to be positive effects, not negative ones like weakness or something. So for instance, let me grab some lingering potion of swiftness here. And once you have built this thing, which the lingering absorber, by the way, is some nether brick, some ingot of the skies, and blaze rods with a bottled ghost, as well as a bunch of red nether bricks, which, yeah, those are a little bit of nether wart involved, I believe, in those. Yep, just a little bit, plus some nether bricks should get you those, just in case you're not up on your nether brick creation methods. But you take your lingering potion of swiftness, or just whatever lingering potion you have, which if you're familiar with lingering potions, means you have to have dragon's breath in order to make them. So that means you had to have gone to the end or just borrowed some from your best friend's inventory that they didn't see you tossing it out. So you throw that on there and nothing happens. That's because I just did it wrong. So if I right click, it has to be thrown to an area where the lingering effect would take place on this, and you'll start seeing that it is releasing aura above on here. It's best if you can hit it, actually, there we go, on top. And hitting multiples of these at a time will not gain you an effect like I was just doing there. So it's best If you get it right the first time, there we go. And yes, you can have things drop things down on here. It's not a problem. But in this case, I just have this set up with that dispenser underneath. And because it's in the area of effect, it works just fine. And it dispenses a whole bunch of positive aura for you to use as you wish. And speaking of other endgame items that might generate aura, we have here
the Rose of Oblivion.
Yes, I said it twice. Anyway, the Rose of Oblivion. It's a little bit more unique. We have here a bunch of information talking about how it spawns. Basically, you kill the Ender Dragon, and on the end stone around where the Ender Dragon was spawned, or was when you came into the end, is where these will start growing, and you can harvest them. You can just pick them up just by like right-clicking or something like that. Just breaking them is fine. You don't need shears or anything like that, but they do have a limited lifespan once you have activated them. They are active creatures. Let's put a couple of them down here. Basically, what you're going to want to do is get some Eyes of Ender, and then you throw one on there, and then you'll see the
Rose of Oblivion
will start to diminish. You see that little meter that I'm looking at? That meter is thanks to my little bauble here, the environmental ocular, telling me what is the status of this. If I were to take that off, throw it on the ground, whatever, I don't get that benefit. But if I have that with me, then therefore I can start seeing this thing. And you'll know that it has a limited lifetime. Now, of course, once you've started this going, you can break it and it will stop generating aura, but why not let it just finish its thing? You can't get the eye back. You don't get the flower back. You can't duplicate these that I'm aware of. And they only form after the dragon has been killed in the end. So there you go. It turns into this, and then eventually this realizes it's on endstone and breaks into a couple of sticks, and then they're gone. But they will release a tremendous amount of aura about you. As you can see, we're doing nonstop releasing of aura. The energy per tick has been nonstop increased as well. So before I actually just end this, I feel that there are some things I should mention. There have been some updates. Some things have taken place, and this is one of the more interesting ones here. A shifting sundial. Shifting sundial is made with infused brick, bottled sunlight, bottled ghosts, and a clock. You'll need a bunch of clocks, which if you forgot what they are because nobody ever makes them anymore except in a crafting recipe, this is what the recipe is for a vanilla clock. You place one of these down, and you need to have a lot of aura nearby. Reason being is because it uses a lot of aura. But you'll also need to make one of these. And that is a Hand of Time. They are made with a nether star in an offering to the gods with a spirit of calling will get you a Hand of Time. Now, what can you do with these Hands of Time? You can put it on the side, or potentially in the future, maybe on top or bottom, but currently on the side of a shifting sundial with a frame. And if you just right-click, you can, of course, change where it's aiming. Now, when you place it on there, up is midnight. That is just close to sunrise. This is sunrise, and then we're getting into noon, sunset, and so on. So therefore, let's see, what time is it now? It is almost sunset. Let's make it sunrise. And what you need to do is, one, have a bunch of aura available, but the other is have a clock. Then you throw the clock nearby, wait a moment, and then magic happens, my friends. The sky starts spinning. You've got this wonderful effect, and everything just goes crazy. And look at that, it's daylight again. So let's spin it around. Let's actually do that again. We can actually have it rise up again. And this time, I'll kind of back up so you guys can get a good view of what exactly is happening here. There's the sun running by. We've got this great little particle effect going on. The sky is spinning. It's really, really cool. Really cool. And because it was like just moments after sunrise before, it'll go all the way around. But the further it has to go, this is where your power levels are important. The further that you have to make the time spin in order for it to get to the time that you want it to be, the more aura that it will use. Now in this case, I have a tremendous amount of aura currently going on in a lot of shapes and forms. But in this case, it didn't actually get that down to a low enough point that this mattered. Another one of the new items that changed is, of course, this viewing, I guess. And that is mostly due to the effects going on. If you look, there's like some seeds, egg, some kind of aura cache as it is down here on the bottom. And there's also that the green meter and the brown meter. The green meter is what you see with a standard environmental eye. It will tell you if there is a bonus or not. So if I get rid of this, and I have this eye on my hotbar, you can see it just says aura around, you're at high levels, or you're at low levels. That's all it's going to tell you. It might tell you a little bit more. Yeah, it'll tell you like the Rose of Oblivion and such. But if you upgrade to the environmental ocular, which is a bit of a ritual in itself, plus the environmental eye requires a smaller ritual, then the environmental ocular will tell you a lot more. There's actually a second meter. This brown section here verifies that there is a whole nother level of aura, as well as below it as well. So if you're that bad, that's how much you have before you start getting really negative effects. Seeds means that in the area, things will start to grow. So I've got a bunch of seeds in here. I can do this. We're at a very high rate. Now this is just placing seeds, but you see the green puffs? That is the boon that you get from just having such a high amount of aura nearby. It is tremendous with how fast things will actually start growing when it's this high. Now, of course, that uses some of the aura in the process, but you get the idea. Now, below that, there's like a little egg with hash marks across. That means that you have potential to gain benefits of breeding animals, but you will have to have effect powder to do so, which I will cover in a future bit by bit. Now, this last one here is regarding your aura cache. Now, I've been using it. Let's use some right now to repair my tools. In fact, I could probably use this one right now and start really wearing down my pick. There we go. And then I start repairing the pick, and the aura cache that I have starts dropping, right? Well, the aura cache will replenish in this area with this symbol, unless you otherwise tell it to. And that is one of the new advantages to the environmental ocular. It tells you a lot more detail about that. And you can turn that on and off with certain effects as well, which, once again, I will cover in a future bit by bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit by bit and a little bit of an update on some of nature's aura. I look forward to doing more in the future. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.